Funding for this program is brought to you in part by listeners like you and the following sponsor. The Indigenous Water Bank Cooperative is an international non-governmental organization, an INGO, recognized for its award-winning efforts to protect sacred lands and empower Indigenous communities. Aquifer-sourced water in its natural form supports IWB's long-term solutions through private sector cooperative ownership, global alliances, and intergenerational legacy stewardship, advancing sustainability rooted in Indigenous knowledge and autonomy. More information is available at buildabetterworld.iwb.coop. That's buildabetterworld.iwb.coop.
WRFG operates on the frequency of 89.3 megahertz as authorized by the Federal Communications Commission. Opinions expressed on WRFG do not necessarily represent the opinions of Radio Free Georgia Broadcasting, Inc., its staff, or volunteers. This program contains language and/or information which may be strong for some listeners. Portions of this program are pre-recorded. Discretion is advised.
You are listening to WRFG Atlanta. WRFG provides a voice for those who have been traditionally denied open access to the broadcast media through the involvement of a broad base of community elements to guarantee that access. In the utilization of the station's facilities and in its programs, the following communities will receive first priority: those who continue to be denied free and open access to the broadcast media, and those who suffer oppression or exploitation based upon class, race, sex, age, creed, sexual orientation, disability, or immigrant status.
We can't leave Jah. Israel, we can't leave Jah. No, Selassie, I is the righteous one, coming from the line of King Solomon, greater son of King David. Christ in his kingly character, him no come as no lamb to the slaughter. They know them say him dead at Ethiopia, I lie them and tell can Jaja. We can't leave Jah alone. Israel, we can't leave Jah alone. No, Selassie, I is the righteous one, coming from the line of King Solomon, greater son of King David. Christ in his kingly character, him no come as no lamb to the slaughter. They know them say him dead at Ethiopia, I lie them and tell can Jaja live him at the rightful Savior. We can't leave Jah alone. Israel, we can't leave Jah alone. No, Selassie, I is the righteous one, sitting on the throne of Solomon. It is your role of creation. Lying lips is abomination. Only Jaja can stop this corruption. Jaja keep on your cool meditation. We can't leave Jah alone. Israel, we can't leave Jah alone. No, we can't leave Jah alone. Israel, we can't leave Jah alone. No, he's the Messiah, earth's rightful ruler, Jaja. Selassie, I is the righteous one, coming from the line of Solomon, Greater son of King David, Christ in his kingly character. Him no come as no lamb to be slaughtered. They know them say him dead at Ethiopia. I lie them and tell man Jaja, Jaja living at the rightful Savior. You can't leave Jah alone. It's real. You can't leave Jah alone. No. I give the righteous sitting on the throne of Solomon.
And choose to wear down here.
You can't leave Jah alone, children. You can't leave Jah alone. Whenever you're walking alone and you feel afraid, you call upon Jah to guide your way. Whenever you're in desperate moods and you can't get through, you can't leave Jah alone, children. You can't leave Jah alone. Whenever you're walking alone and you feel afraid, you call upon Jah to guide your way. Whenever you're in desperate moods and you can't get through, you call upon Jah, ask him what to do.
I want to commend the preacher.
You can't leave Jah alone, children. You can't leave Jah alone. Whenever you're walking alone and you feel afraid, you call upon Jah to guide your way. Whenever you're in desperate moods and you can't get through, you call upon Jah, ask him what to do. Today may be sunny and bright, tomorrow cloud. You got a whole heap of problems and there's no way out. Oh Jah, try everything that you know, but still you fail. So you call upon Jah, ask him to bail. So no, you can't leave Jah alone, children. You can't leave Jah alone. Oh no, you can't leave Jah alone. Israel, you can't leave Jah alone. Oh no, how you need him, oh Jah, yes. Oh Lord, how you need him.
One day, was talking about the new York, the new Atlanta.
You can't leave Jah alone, children. You can't leave Jah alone. You may be running low when it comes to faith, and you just can't stand the time that you have to wait. Oh no, the vibes are always there. Oh, this I know. Cause if I should drop a word sound, it will surely grow. No matter how many times you've turned away, you'll always use Jah calling card. Come one day, in every disaster, them call Jah. For Jah is the words and the wisdom, light and power. I know you can't leave Jah alone, children. You can't leave Jah alone. Oh no, you can't leave Jah alone. Israel, you can't leave Jah alone.
Ashe.
We'll pour to the creative spirit, the great Ashe, out of which we all emerge. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to that creative spirit by whatever name we know it, whatever name you hold in your heart, in your mind, whatever name your ancestors gave, whatever name you learned as a child, whatever name you believe it to be, whatever name you believe it to be in spirit or in science. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to the first human beings who came into existence on this planet, the first human beings who raised the first structures, who cooked the first meals, who taught the first children, who had the first children, the first Africans, the first people who stood upright, who walked, who figured out how to stay on this planet, who figured out how to pass that knowledge on to their children and their children's children, the mothers and fathers of civilization. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour the next libation to their grandchildren, their children's children, those who raised the great early civilizations of Kemet and Kush and Monomotapa, the great medieval civilizations of Ghana and Mali and Songhai and Kanem Bornu. We pour to those who the great civilizations of the Igbo people and the Hausa people and the Kikongo people and the Mabara people, the great Mande civilizations, the great Kikongo, the great civilizations of Southern Africa, the Bantu people, the great civilizations of Southeast Africa, the Dinka, the Shilla, the Noor. We pour to those millions who raised the foundations from which the world would learn what it meant to be human in the world. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to their children who, upon the arrival on the shores of people they had never seen before, found themselves captured and marched overland, found themselves perishing by the millions before they were held on the holding cells and the open air pens on the coast of West, Central, Southern, and East Africa. We pour to the ancestors who did not know as they were stripped of all clothing and sent denuded into boats, packed like animals, and strewn their bones across the floor of the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. We pour to them who in the last moment on Africa grabbed the sand and grabbed the dirt and put it in their mouths and understood that the only thing they might have to preserve their place in that continent was their memory of that place and their ability to pass it on to their children. We pour to them. Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to those Africans and their children who finding themselves cast adrift in Santiago, Cuba, who found themselves cast adrift in Porto, Spain, Trinidad, and Port-au-Prince, Haiti, who found themselves cast adrift in New Orleans and Charleston and Mobile, who found themselves cast adrift in Salvador, Bahia, who found themselves cast adrift in Barbados and the archipelago that formed the wayward and the windward coast. We found them in these places learning Portuguese and Spanish and French, whose often first words was, "Oh my God, oh Madre de Dios," who found themselves praying to survive and pass on to their children the memories. We pour to those ancestors who are represented in the thousands, buried in all the square miles of where we stand, and who sit here, buried before us in 400 caskets forged of wood from West Africa with Adinkra symbols. Each one of them, each woman, man, and child, symbolic of millions. The children of those who could not be killed, we pour Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to their children who somehow survived the hells of enslavement and fought for emancipation in the Caribbean, the French, British, Dutch Caribbean, who fought for emancipation in South America, who fought for emancipation in Central America, who fought the struggles we refer to as the Civil War in the United States, who came out of that, marched out of enslavement through Reconstruction, and found themselves making great migrations, eventually ending up in places like New York. Their children's children, who making a way for themselves, became our great-great-grandparents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents. Those who, when the first bones were discovered in this space, held their hands and said, "Stop, no more." We are here to speak for those who can no longer speak with their mouths. We pour for those ancestors, some of whom came to Howard University in 2004 and followed these caskets all the way back to New York. The ones whose names we know and the ones whose names we don't. And at this moment, as we pour this libation, I would ask anyone who feels comfortable to say the name of someone in your bloodline who is no longer physically here, but who you know made it possible for you to be here. Go ahead, let's hear the names. We pour to the names that we hold collectively. Ganga Zumba in Brazil, Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe in Haiti. We pour to the great Avengers, Nanny of the Maroons of Jamaica, We pour to the great ancestors Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass. Say the names that you study. Who are the names of the ancestors that you have come to hold in your heart and your mind as you hope that you can do what they did for us, for your children and children's children? Let's say some of those famous names. Malcolm X, Fannie Lou Hamer, John Henry Clark, John G. Jackson, Jacob Carruthers. And finally, two final libations. We pour to those who make it possible for us to do what we do. We pour to these rangers who stand guardian over this sacred space. We pour to these Africans and these folks who have come from Howard University, the staff, the faculty, the administrators who brought us here today to bear witness. This is not a libation, but an affirmation, because their hearts still beat, their tongues still speak, their minds still think, and their minds still wish the best for us. We pour for all of those people who surrounded us on this journey today and made it possible for us to be here. We pour this affirmation of thanks, Ashe.
Ashe.
And finally, we pour to your children's children's children who will one day stand on this space and speak your name. Ashe.
Ashe.
Of Water and the Spirit, Part 2. My grandfather had been my confidant and interlocutor for as long as I can remember. There is a close relationship between grandfathers and grandchildren. The first few years of a boy's life are usually spent not with his father, but with his grandfather. What the grandfather and grandson share together that the father cannot is their close proximity to the cosmos. The grandfather will soon return to where the grandson came from, so the grandson is a bearer of news the grandfather wants. The grandfather will do anything to make the grandson communicate the news of the ancestors before the child forgets, as inevitably happens. My grandfather obtained this news through hypnosis, putting me to sleep in order to question me. It is not only to benefit the grandfather that this relationship with his grandson must exist. The grandfather must also transmit the news to the grandson using a protocol secret to grandfathers and grandsons. He must communicate to this new member of the community the hard tasks ahead on the bumpy road of existence. For the Daggara, every person is an incarnation, that is, a spirit who has taken on a body. So our true nature is spiritual. This world is where one comes to carry out specific projects. A birth is therefore the arrival of someone, usually an ancestor that somebody already knows, who has important tasks to do here. The ancestors are the real school of the living. They are the keepers of the very wisdom the people need to live by. The life energy of ancestors who have not yet been reborn is expressed in the life of nature, in trees, mountains, rivers, and still water. Grandfathers and grandmothers, therefore, are as close to an expression of ancestral energy and wisdom as the tribe can get. Consequently, their interest in grandsons and granddaughters is natural. An individual who embodies a certain value would certainly be interested in anyone who came from the place where that value existed most purely. Elders become involved with a new life practically from the moment of conception because that unborn child has just come from the place they are going to. A few months before birth, when the grandchild is still a fetus, a ritual called a hearing is held. The pregnant mother, her brothers, the grandfather, and the officiating priest are the participants. The child's father is not present for the ritual, but merely prepares the space. Afterward, he is informed about what happened. During the ritual, the incoming soul takes the voice of the mother. Some say the soul takes the whole body of the mother, which is why the mother falls into a trance and does not remember anything afterward and answers every question the priest asks. The living must know who is being reborn, where the soul is from, why it chose to come here, and what gender it has chosen. Sometimes, based on the life mission of the incoming soul, the living object to the choice of gender and suggest that the opposite choice will better accommodate the role the unborn child has chosen for him or herself. Some souls ask that specific things be made ready before their arrival: talismanic power objects, medicine bags, metal objects in the form of rings for the ankle or the wrist. They do not want to forget who they are and what they have come here to do. It is hard not to forget, because life in this world is filled with many alluring distractions. The name of the newborn is based upon the results of these communications. A name is the life program of its bearer. A child's first few years are crucial. The grandfather must tell the grandson what the child said while still a fetus in his mother's womb. Then he must gradually help him build a connection with his father, who will help him with the hard challenges ahead. My father used to complain that his life was calamitous because he never knew his grandfather, who disappeared before he was born. Had he known him, my father said, he would never have lost his first family, never spent his youth working in a gold mine, or later embraced the Catholic religion with a fervor grander than the one that linked him to his ancestors. His stepbrothers, who knew their grandfather, did not have the kind of restlessness that plagued my father. The frustration of a grandfatherless male child has no cure. In the beginning, the intense intimacy between the grandson and the grandfather might create feelings of jealousy in the father. While a grandfather is alive, the grandchildren do not have much of anything to learn from their father until they reach their pre-adolescent age. And the father knows that. He knows that a conversation between a grandson and a grandfather is a conversation between brothers of the same knowledge group. To know is to be old, and that the grandson is as old as the grandfather. Consequently, the father is too young to have a part in this relationship between wise men. I used to spend much of my days in the company of my grandfather. He was a man worn out by hard work, who at the age of 60 was virtually a child, weak and sick, yet with a mind still as alert as that of a man in the prime of youth. He also possessed incomparable wisdom stored over the course of half a century of sustained healing and medicine work. Grandfather was thin and tall. Since I had first known him, he always wore the same traditional baobu. It had been white when he first got it, but in order to avoid the cost of maintenance, he had changed the white color of the cloth into red, using the juice of some roots that he alone knew the secret of. In use 24 hours a day, the baobab was simultaneously his daily outfit, his pajamas, and his blanket. After more than a decade, it had turned into a remnant of himself, blackened by sweat and dirt. Though most of the baobab had fallen off under the weight of filth, it still hung firmly on his shoulders, its general architecture intact. Unlike modern Christianity, which links cleanliness to godliness, Dagara culture holds the opposite to be true. The more intense the involvement with the life of the spirit, the more holy and wise an individual is, the less attention is paid to outward beauty. Grandfather owned a walking stick carved with artistic dexterity.
There's a link between all of our striving. But if the black American was in better position than any Africans in the whole of the African world, it is not because he is wiser or stronger than the rest. Once we get this through our skull and start competing to our among ourselves by my slave master better than your slave master, if you're against slave masters, then they're no better. If you're against evil, you do not choose the lesser between two evils. Anytime you choose the lesser between two evils, you have compromised with evil. Now, why did I say that the circumstances of oppression in America has given the black American certain advantages that could be used to rescue the African world? Because of the nature of the work we had to do, the attitude of our oppressor leaving us with no illusion that we were a part of him, the things we had to learn or to stay on the earth, we were in a position to rescue Africa. We were the only African people on the earth where Africa get a modern, scientifically trained army. But we had been trained in the basic military techniques essential to the maintenance of a nation, land, air, and sea. We weren't trained to do this for Africa's sake. We were trained to do this for our oppressor's sake. Our oppressor needed us on those ships, at those guns, drilling and fighting his designated enemy. So we gained that skill that we did not transfer to Africa. If we had transferred that skill to Africa, there'd been no coups and counter-coups wrecking African nations by a bunch of thugs called.
You're tuned to the Ancestral Rock on your station for progressive information and hand-picked quality music. WRFG Atlanta 89.3 on the FM dial. We're grateful for the opportunity to be with you this afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to yourself. My name is Ross Covey, here with you until the 4 o'clock hour, and we're very much looking forward to continuing our journey in the space, in the art, in the practice, in the self-love, the self-loving act of healing ourselves. You know, last week we had some special guests on who, I mean, this is the gist of the program in general. You know, every strong, we want to bring this forward and use this time wisely, the time that we have together. So today we'll be taking a walk, a healing journey with some practitioners who are all connected to the Kindred Healing Center in Atlanta. We've been hearing from Dr. John Henry Clark, of course, our great Jegna, from a lecture called African Wisdom. And before that, we came in hearing some of the audiobook of Water in Spirit. You know, we just say divine intervention, the alignment of circumstances and imperatives and all of that led me forward to that book after a couple of decades. I read that book when I was a young man, about 3 decades ago. A younger man, I would say. I'm still a young man. And it was something, just opening that book again and now reading it from the eyes of a person living in the so-called 21st century and seeing what's happening in that same land, Burkina Faso, and in the Western Nigeria, you know, in the Western African states, the Sahel states and everything. It's just really something compelling. So we're going to take a journey with that book for a little while, and we're going to link up with our special guests as well. In between time, before I introduce our special guests, I want to give them some theme music to introduce them properly. The phone number up here is 404-523-8989. 404-523-8989 is the number. Let me see how I can share this vibe and come right forward with you all with some, again, very special guests in the studio. The music you've been hearing, Baba Furuhu, a traditional chant of the energy, Orisha, force in the universe, servant of the great architect called Obatala. And before that also we heard Double Trouble, song called Can't Leave Jah Alone, from Skian Success, as well as our beloved Johnny Osborne. So we're there, we're there for give thanks, and we must take full advantage of this moment. So we invite you to get yourself comfortable. Sit in. Get your watermelon juice or your tea or whatever you're drinking this time of year. Let's go.
Oh no, it's the healers we need these days. It's the healers to light our way. The whole world is crying out, about to go insane. It's the healers who heal our pain.
Peace and love, Rasta bring. Free man song I sing.
With universal music and reasoning, spiritual, mystical feeling.
Shine your light for the whole world to see. But show request to all the ancient posse. So won't you tune to 480 frequency? This generation happy totally free.
So what a burden upon Babylon, the mystery. Pestilence and ignorance, well that a mad disease. Them say music soothe the savage and a swarm of bees. Nothing calm you like a sound to set your karma free. Many feel that healers living only in the trees, but they dwelling all around us in the city streets. Some are tailor, build a farmer, some are born they great, some are Babalawa, Mauma, and some are Yogi.
In those Stone Mountain with east side, all over the east side and the south side and the north side.
Make the rhythm play and charge up.
Thank you for joining us on the radio, 89.3 FM, WRFG.org. If you're cruising through the city and you're headed back to work or into your office or into your home or whatever, you need to get off the celestial or the terrestrial dial, you can join us, wrfg.org. About to go insane. So we never really get off the celestial dial. Stay tuned to that. Stay tuned to yourself, y'all.
Peace and love, Rasta bring. Free man song I sing.
With universal music and reasoning, spiritual, mystical feeling.
Join your life for the whole world to see. Special request to all the ancient posse. So won't you tune to 418 frequency? This generation happy totally free.
As if storytelling were the only thing he could still do with success. He utilized this talent very well, as it was the only way he could gain attention. Each time I sat in his lap, he took it as a request for a story, and he would always begin by asking a question. Brother Malidoma, do you know why the bat sits upside down? No, why? Long, long ago, and I mean long when I say long, because that was when animals used to speak to men and men to animals and both to God. Then why don't animals speak to men anymore? They still do, only we have forgotten how to comprehend them. What happened? Never mind. We're talking about bats and why they all sit upside down.
Indeed. Again, 404-523-8989 is the number. There's so many things we want to know. And we give thanks for our healers. We give thanks for the mamas and the papas who share with us what they know, about what we desire to know, so we can tune into ourselves and even have more knowledge. That's how it goes. Each one teach one in the journey of life. 404-523-8989 is number, 404-523-8989, wrfg.org. Without any further ado, because time is a thing, I heard through the grapevine a couple of days last strong, including July the 22nd, that the earth spun faster than ever before in recorded history. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I wouldn't doubt it, because we all feel that this whole concept of time speeding up. And if I'm not mistaken, today is around the day of the time of the day out of time, which is some ancient celebration, observance of the reality of the more ancient calendars before the Gregorian calendar, before time was colonized. But all that to say, we have a few moments together, and so we want to take full advantage of that. Without any further ado, I want to welcome to the airways of WRFG. I'm hearing some kind of feedback. I want to welcome to the airways of WRFG, Oriola Eshuleke, the founder and owner of the Kindred Healing Center. As I said, today we're going to take a journey with a few different healers of various different, I would say, modalities, touching base, through the Kindred Healing Center. So I want to welcome her to the airways of WRFG. I don't think she's any stranger to WRFG. I don't know if she's been on this program. I don't remember her being on this program before, but if not, and if so, either way, welcome back, Mama. I'm glad to be with you this afternoon. How you feeling?
Greetings. Thank you for having me and all of my comrades. I'm feeling wonderful today. I used to come on RFG back in the day with my big sis, Karen Marie Mason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Karen, my people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we miss her dearly in the flesh, and she's still right here with us.
Listen, I was
take a good look. She's sitting right here next to me.
I know. I was putting this place together, and she was in here telling me what to do here, what to do there, what to do there. So she comes strolling through here from time to time in spirit as well.
I see. Well, we're so happy to have you for many reasons. As I was preparing for this program, just thinking about just literally taking a walk through these various doors and these chambers of opportunity for all the healing modalities, and how that really reflects something that we have internally, and how so much of that is coming more to light and becoming more, I guess, widely accepted. Things that even on WRFG, you know, the people who precede me been playing these tapes and lectures for years when with all these warrior scholars, you know, mothers and fathers who made it their duty to remind us of who we are, you know, during this time of intellectual warfare, if you will. And so here we are, harvest time, and it feels sweet to be, I would say, on the other side of those types of things, and we're still on the journey. Of course, it never is a never-ending journey. So I want to ask you, just for as a matter of introduction, for those who are not familiar with you, just tell us a little bit about yourself and the Kindred Healing Center.
Oh, well, I am Oriola Eshuleke is my spiritual name. Yolanda Niels Kindred to those who know me before my spiritual journey in that way. I have been working in the healing wellness sphere for about 20 years at this point. About 25 years ago, I studied under Iyanla Van Zant, and I just fell in love with holding space once I learned what holding space was about, right? And I traveled around the country holding space in different communities that look like us on a sacred spiritual level. And so about 5, almost 6 years ago, I got blessed with my own space to be able to hold. And that's what we call the Kindred Healing Center. And I've been blessed to hold space with some incredible practitioners, many who have been with me as long as I've been in this space. And so we support the community from a true mind, body, spirit perspective, right? When you walk on this floor, up and down this hallway, there's an opportunity to really get your mind right, really get your body right, really get your spirit righteous, you know? And so it makes us unique to have and house so many different modalities under one roof. But it's from that perspective. And we have many so that it's like a plethora of choices. You may be more into this or more into that, but I guarantee you we got something here for everybody. You know, you get here and check out the choices.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to take a walk with you, you know, along with the listeners today, or listening audience or viewing audience. Just get a little taste, you know, of some of these different modalities. Yes. And especially from a perspective of looking at the essence of these modalities. So I know we have a few guests with us. Yes. I don't know if those see Dr. Lakara backstage.
Yeah, Dr. Lakara.
Hudson. Who do you want to call up first?
Dr. Lakara.
Lakara?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's Paula. We can work with Paula since she's here.
Okay, Paula, how you feeling? Good afternoon.
I'm blessed, thank you. How are you?
Giving thanks. Thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you bring to the healing space.
Yes, well, my name is Paula Hudson, and I am the owner of Amethyst and Rose, and I'm an astrologer and holistic practitioner, and all of my services are tailored to the client's cosmic makeup, so it's specialized for the individual. I offer a number of different services. I'm a crystal therapist, herbalist, a doula specializing in postpartum care, yoga instructor, meditation instructor. And so my goal is just to offer different modalities of nature to support those on their journey. But it all starts with their cosmic makeup. So it's tailored to them.
Right. So you mentioned cosmic makeup a couple of times. I don't want to assume that everyone speaks the same language. So please explain to us what that means.
Well, what that means is we all have what's called a natal or birth chart. And what that is, it describes the planetary elements, aspects, and placements at the moment your spirit entered the Earth's atmosphere. And all of it is all unique based on the purpose of the individual.
Indeed. So not even from this perspective of, what they call devil's advocate. But many people, when they hear about these, it's funny how the age of information is. The age of, some say the age of Aquarius. It's a high sense of spirituality and also intellect. And sometimes those are like oil and water. You know what I mean? So when some people would hear that, they would say, well, this is pseudoscience. Like, how does the time you were born and everything, how does that tangibly affect the individual? How would you address that?
Well, I would address it by each planetary placement, each planet, each constellation, each aspect has a specific trait and characteristic. And so what that looks like, it's expressed by nature by the individual. So it's not anything that is a belief system. It's just the science of who we are. Yes, each person is unique and they're their own individual self, but there is a nature to each of the placements. And when you have an understanding of the nature, then you can best support the individual in becoming their most authentic self.
Indeed. I'm curious, what drew you to this science?
Oh my goodness. I have been studying astrology, I would say, since I was a little girl. I've always been fascinated with the galaxies and stars. And just over the years, through a lot of research and study within my own life, within my children's life, I just see that there is a mapping system to who we are, and it provides the ideal environments that are best for us. And so if we have the information that will support us as far as this is how you best grow in this environment, then you can put yourself in those spaces or clearly recognize when those spaces aren't for you.
Good thing. So just so as said in some traditions, you're reading creation, and there's so many different languages in creation. So what you tap into with the cosmic astrological language, and you mentioned crystals and herbs and everything. How do those connect? How do those relate to the stars?
Well, every person is unique. So some people may resonate more with crystals and minerals. Some people may resonate more with herbs, but it's all within our birth chart that provides us our passions, the things that we're interested in. And so based upon, like I say, the individual, then we can tailor a healing plan that best supports them.
Okay. And can you give some information, like just in terms of website or phone number or ways that people could contact you to dive deeper into this?
Yes. So my website is amethystandrose.com. That's AMETHYST, the letter N, rose.com. You can remember amethyst and rose quartz. That's the best way. And then the best way to reach me through phone is 323-407-3697.
Okay, amethystandrose.com.
Yes.
And the phone number again?
323-407-3697.
323-407-3697. Just sharing that with the family who don't have anything to write down or anything on the screen for those of y'all joining us online. We want to send out a shout out to everyone who's linking us on YouTube and Facebook and all the different modes of communication that we have set up. You're tuned to WRFG Atlanta, 49 minutes after the hour. Thank you so much for joining us, sis. We just taking a stroll, and it's very intriguing to me in this time and in the new moon energy and everything as we're moving through the summer to tap into the energy of again, I can just say the chambers of healing. There's various beautiful choices that we have, like this great menu that we have before us, that there's something for everyone, with the focus being internal healing. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. 404-523-8989, 404-523-8989. And with us now, we have Dr. Lakara. Good afternoon. How are you feeling?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about what you bring to the healing space.
Yeah, so first of all, can I tell you how much I love the Kindred Healing Center? It is just, it's absolutely phenomenal to be surrounded by so many just magical and gifted practitioners. And so I myself am a psychic medium, and I am also a minister as well.
Okay. Psychic medium. You
Yes.
know, the other day I had a conversation with someone who reminded me, I was just, being myself and expressing a few different cultural, songs and stuff, that we're in the midst of the Bible Belt.
Okay.
And it's almost to say, like, well, because a lot of people from the Bible Belt, because of the role that Western Christianity has played in our consciousness, would
Hmm.
kind of have an aversion to that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I wonder what your experience was like, in terms of tapping into that. But first, the first question is really, what is psychic mediumship all about?
Yes.
That,
So
that's the
I
first question.
No, that's a great question. And so, as a psychic medium, what I do tell people, first of all, is that psychic is the umbrella term. And so, there are a lot of things that may fall under that term, right? So, all mediums are psychics, but all psychics may not be mediums. And so, being a psychic allows me to be able to, I tell people we're not predicting the future, right? We are essentially tapping into different timelines that we may see, or that trajectories that people are on, but I don't necessarily consider it predicting the future because people have free will. And as
Mm-hmm.
a medium, this allows me to be able to connect to departed loved ones, really just to be able to bring healing, closure, and peace, right? And so I tell people that I don't talk to the dead, right? We know that there's no such thing as dead, that all we are energy, and that we're energy before we enter these bodies, while we're in them, and when we depart from them. And this gift just allows me to be able to tap into that energy.
Beautiful.
Yes.
How do you further, because you've started already, in my opinion, how do you further kind of explain that science to the intellectual mind who was raised in the West and sees everything in a kind of a linear way?
Yeah, well, I think just that if we're energy, right? Everything is energy, and even when we depart these physical bodies, the energy of us, the essence of us, still exists. And so when I'm communicating, I always say it's not necessarily a language or words, but it really is a communication of energy.
Mm-hmm. Communication of energy. The
Yes.
phone number is 404-523-8989. We're talking to Dr. LaCara Foster. We might be kindred, some of my mother's side is Foster, the Foster
Yeah, we
Cohen
listen.
family from South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, but I would not doubt it.
Yeah, the names and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I want to ask you a similar question that I asked our previous guest, in terms of what really drew you personally to this science. Like, out of all the things you could be doing, what's that story?
Well, it truly is a gift. I believe, right? A gift from God, or the God of your understanding. I've had this gift ever since I was a young person, right? I think the earliest that I could go back and remember was probably about 3 years old, and being at a funeral, and knowing that the presence of this my great aunt was also at the funeral. And of course, I always say, I thought that everyone was having this experience, that everyone was experiencing this, only to find out much later in life that not everyone was having this particular spiritual experience.
So was it anytime something that was awkward for you or difficult for you to work with in the context of the wider world?
I would say maybe early on it was, kind of interesting to be able to hear from spirit, or, if I'm in Walmart and spirit is saying, like, go and give this person a message, right? Or if I'm in a restaurant and spirit is saying, go and communicate with my daughter, which happens. So I think that was a little difficult in the beginning, but now not so much.
I feel you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the environment that you now live in, as it relates to your environment of your youth? You just shared that it wasn't, maybe there were some challenges, but it's always kind of felt natural to you. That's how I'm interpreting what you're saying.
Yes.
And it seems to me like the cultural environment is even more in sync with that kind of language, with that kind of
Yes.
energy, where it doesn't seem like it's sticking out like a sore thumb, or
Yes.
what are you talking about? You're having to explain yourself, have to
Yes.
translate yourself in that way.
Yes,
Did you know that you would feel that it would? Did you feel as a younger person that it would come to this in society?
So growing up in New Orleans, I don't know if you've been to New
Oh yeah,
Orleans
you broke.
before.
I
Yeah.
just that flew over my head the first time. Say
Yeah,
less.
yeah,
So,
it's right. So, it's certainly a part of our culture. So to come to places that it wasn't was more of a foreign thing, or that it wasn't accepted, or was kind of, especially being a minister in the Black church, frowned upon. That was more different than, growing up with it.
So you say being a minister in the Black church, and that's interesting. So you see a connection. This gift that you have. I'm assuming that you don't see it as a contradiction, like a tug of war between your ministerial duties, your service to humanity through the church, and that aspect of your gift.
No, absolutely not. I believe that there is, it's more complementary than anything. And I think that people who are, really study the Bible, you will see that Jesus was a mystic, right? Like, we're talking about somebody who was changing water into wine, and somebody who was also talking to spirits who had passed, right, on the mountain of transfiguration. And so I always say Jesus was a medium too. So there's no contradiction to it at all.
Give thanks. It's just good to hear these perspectives. Like I say, from the lioness mouth. I won't call you a horse.
Yeah.
From the lioness mouth, because again, we're in a time where it's a very interesting time where so much information is open up, and then we also have so much false information. We have so much. We got just a stream of consciousness coming through, and so to be able to clarify, to distinguish between the real and the unreal. It's one of those tenets of Ma'at, written on the walls in Kemet thousands of years ago. The ability to distinguish between the real and the unreal.
Absolutely.
We thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank
Do you have
you.
any
Thank you
kind
for
of
having me.
information that people can get more in touch with you about?
Absolutely. And so my website is Lakara with the gift, and that's LAKARA with the gift.com. And I'm on all platforms at Lakara with the gift.
With the GIFT, like Zawadi.
GIFT, yes.
Lakara with the gift.
Yes.
.com. Give thanks. One more question before I let you go.
Yes.
I don't think you answered this directly. If you did, pardon me.
Okay.
Is there anyone that you can credit in terms of an example that you can remember from your childhood that kind of you saw this gift maybe exemplified in this person? You say, okay, well, I can identify.
No, absolutely. And so, I have a great aunt who had the gift. And so as a kid, I didn't know what she was doing, but I would see people go and visit her. And of course, as a young kid, I would hear about the work that she was doing. And so as far as being a medium, I really kind of looked at the Long Island Medium. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
No.
She was on TLC. God, I don't know. I don't think she's still on there, but I think I saw her in about maybe 2010 on television. And it was like, oh wow, like I have the same gift. I'm able to do the same thing. And so I would watch her show, and she would walk in the room, and I would pause the television, and I would say, oh yeah, this person drowned, right? I see their lungs filling up with water. And then I'd hit play, and then she'd say, oh, this person drowned, their lungs were filling up with water. So it was kind of a way to kind of affirm, like, this is a real thing, and I can really help people with this, and really help people who are grieving move, I don't want to say necessarily out of their grief, but move through their grief, right? Once they see that mom is okay or dad is okay, and that death is not a punishment, right? And that death is not the end, that we really do have eternal life. We're just not going to have eternal life in these bodies.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Lakara with the gift. We thank you so much for joining us.
You're
We're going to keep
welcome.
moving and take care of some business at the top of the.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be joined with more family from the Kindred Healing Center. Stay tuned to yourself, family. tuned into WRFG Atlanta 89.3 FM. WRFG.org, 89.3 FM, your station for progressive information and handpicked quality music. Manka Luciana singing out for the nation. Do remember.
Funding for this program is brought to you in part by listeners like you and the following sponsor. The Indigenous Water Bank Cooperative is an international non-governmental organization, an INGO, recognized for its award-winning efforts to protect sacred lands and empower Indigenous communities. Aquifer source water in its natural form supports IWB's long-term solutions through private sector cooperative ownership, global alliances, and intergenerational legacy stewardship, advancing sustainability rooted in Indigenous knowledge and autonomy. More information is available at buildabetterworld.iwb.coop. That's buildabetterworld.iwb.coop.
Your station for progressive information and handpicked quality music, WRFG.org. You're tuned into the Ancestral Rock, and we're taking a stroll. You know, we got the art stroll. We're taking a healing stroll. We're joined by a family from the Kindred Healing Center and getting the great opportunity, the blessing actually, to be introduced, to get some very basic definitions of various tools that are in our toolbox. As you hear us repeat many times up here, the African proverb, if your only tool is a hammer, you treat every problem like a nail. So the ability to see the various tools and expand our consciousness with the various tools that we have available to us. I feel like all of the family that's joining us today would deeply agree that the gifts that they have are gifts that may reside in everyone and may just be dormant in some people. So they're here to help to exemplify those things. On the line with us right now, we're joined by Sister Sumara White of Unleashing Minds, or Unleash Minds, sorry, who is going to take us into the world of clinical hypnotherapy. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I don't know if you heard that at the beginning we were playing a clip that we'll continue to play from Of Water and Spirit, a classic book by Malidoma Some, and he was talking about how the connection between the newborn and the grandparents is so close, because one has information from a world that they just leaving, and one is returning to that world, you know, what they call the spirit world. Yeah. And I took note of the fact that he said how his grandfather got this information was taking him through hypnosis. And he spoke very highly and fondly of his grandfather, even as an adult, as he reflected. So clearly it wasn't something that was, you know, invasive. In this time of all the shenanigans in the world that's happening on TV and everything, if you don't turn off the TV for a minute, we think of a lot of these things were actually great sciences and, again, great tools as something that are adverse to our humanity. So I'm happy to have you here so you can help us to understand a little bit more about what hypnotherapy really is.
So hypnotherapy is a method that gets you into focused attention. It your conscious mind kind of goes to the left, and it dives into your subconscious mind, which hears everything. That's why words are so powerful. You know, death could be in the tongue, life could be in the tongue. And I kind of think I speak life in when I do the hypnosis. It allows you to relax the fight or flight, that some of us go through, the anxiety. It calms the mind so that you can hear. You can hear your subconscious. You can hear your higher self. And as you said, the connection with our ancestors to a cellular level, all of that is in our subconscious as well. So sometimes you can hear them as well. So that's one of the ways that I utilize that based on the use case. It could be that they just have anxiety and they're trying to get over it. They have fears, phobias. It's good for that. It's good for pain management. It's good to see the path of where you're supposed to go. I get a lot of entrepreneurs that come to me to see, like, they're at a crossroads and which way do I go? Sometimes I get people that are scared or fear of pregnancy, so it helps with the pain of that. It helps also with the anxiety of the what if, especially if they've miscarried in the past. There are a plethora of uses with hypnotherapy.
I feel you. So let's talk about, you mentioned a few different ways. I appreciate that. Let's use the example of pain, from your physical pain. How does tapping into one's subconscious mind, how could that possibly help one to navigate, to avert, to remove whatever it is, physical pain? Like, I got a pain in my thigh right now because I got bit by a bee, for instance. Like how tapping into that world through that science helped me with that.
So the method that I use my voice. It's like telling a story very close, because I was listening to the young man that you were talking about, and his voice is amazing. I was like, he would be excellent at hypnotherapy. Actually,
right.
Yeah, he's probably doing exactly that when he's telling his stories, because that's exactly what it is. It's using your voice, progressive relaxation, and tapping into the imagination. So if you could visualize it, you can manifest it. So like with pain, if you visualize it as like an object that you can lessen and you can make it smaller and smaller and smaller, that pain decreases. I've used, like, with grief, if there's someone that's passed and you're trying to get over that grief, or you might have something to say to them. Subconsciously, maybe I take you into a cave, into several doors, which is in your subconscious mind. And behind that door, there's someone that you need to talk to. And you have that conversation. And clarity and next steps, release, a lot of things. It may be that the adult needs to talk to the child or be there with the child when they went through that traumatic experience. There are a lot of ways that you can use the voice and symbolism and stories that, we've done for the generations very well to heal.
And you do have that voice too.
Thank you.
I'm on my magic carpet now, just float on. Give thanks. So what introduced you to this in a practical way? What introduced you personally to this science?
A couple of avenues. One, I used to be really into fitness, and I used to do fitness competitions, and I was a personal trainer, and I used to always say, it's the mindset on how you need to get out of your own way, right? And I had my own tribulations of childhood things that I needed to get over. So I went to a hypnotherapist, and I shared with her like what I needed, and we went through the steps, and that helped me. And she was like, you have the voice that is needed, because I've been singing since I was 2. So
you sound singing.
So that everything's frequency.
Yes, Indeed.
So when you're talking, that's a frequency, and that can calm or that can anger.
Right.
I've always had this. I tell a story when I was younger, and I think I was like 15. I was talking to this young man that I liked, and I was on the phone with him. And I was just talking, and he fell asleep. And at that time, I was really upset. And I'm like, he said, "Your voice is just so relaxing."
I tell you no lie. I was going to ask you to sing me a bedtime story if I had a little blanket.
And that's bedtime
story.
Yeah, and that's hypnosis. Like when like mom or dad used to
sing me a lullaby.
Yeah, a bedtime story. It took you on a journey in your mind.
Yes.
And that resolved things on a subconscious level. So you had a different outlook on life. There's so many things. Fears of spiders, you name it. It can be addressed with hypnosis.
See. We're talking to Sister Sumara White. We're talking about hypnotherapy. This is the end of July, June truth, as we say, 2025, according to somebody's calendar. And we are squarely in what some refer to as the age of Aquarius, an unfolding world. I want to ask you a question, not even asking you to make a prediction or look into your crystal ball or anything like that, just based on what you know, but based on what you observe with the world. There are certain things that across the board, whether in a very Western, intellectual, left brain kind of world, as well as all the way on the other side of the spectrum where people are deeply into intuitive sciences and all that kind of stuff. Some people agree, like one of the things people agree with is the need for fresh air and the need for water, and how these things alone, are doing deeper breathing and learning how to relax and all these things would tremendously have a positive effect on the world. I'm willing to wager, even though I'm not a betting man, that you would probably say the same thing in terms of hypnotherapy as a universal kind of science. Am I onto something?
Absolutely, because it the fight or flight that you're kind of mentioning, hypnotherapy and hypnosis puts you like in a parasympathetic, your nervous system, where it's rest and digest. So you're still, that breathing is a part of that. I do breathing techniques to get that person relaxed and in a state of mind where they can receive before we go through the progressive relaxation with my voice and me using symbolism in stories to relax them and to take them on a journey that they need. We do an assessment for me to understand what their needs are. Based on that assessment, that is what kind of symbolism and stories that I'll bring to the table to address whatever their use case is.
See. I want to ask a question that may seem like a tough one, but just like one of those things that helps to debunk myths and everything. Is it possible that you could lose what's the word, a passenger? Like, somebody goes out and doesn't come back. Is that what hypnotherapy does? It takes you into another world where
it may take you to another world, but you're gonna come back. That's why I tell people, no, you weren't asleep, because as soon as I count them up and I say, open your eyes, their eyes open. Now, I have had a couple that keep the eyes closed and shake their head. So, I think I want to stay where I'm at.
Right.
But I actually do recordings when I do the session, so they can take it with them.
Right.
Because the subconscious is a child, and it needs to learn repeatedly. So you need to listen to this on a repeated 21 days. A habit is changed to it's a part of you. So that's part of the track, that you listen to me over a certain period of time. Go to sleep to me, wake up to me, and that'll change some things.
Lovely. Lovely. 404-523-8989. Sister Samara, we thank you for joining us. Unleash Minds. Please give us any contact information you'd like to share with us.
Well, the website is www.unleashminds.com, not ED, not in past, but present. Unleashminds.com. And the phone number is 678-653-0551.
Again, the phone number 678
653-0551.
0551.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the best way is to text me on that phone number, because that gets to me faster.
Exactly. In closing, for those family members who are not in Atlanta, may not have access to your services, but are very intrigued by some of these things that have been shared today, are there any kind of things that, like internal practices that you could, universal practices that you could say, I want to use the word prescribe for obvious reasons, but that you could share that people could start implementing today, wherever they are? There's people online listening from almost every continent on the earth right now. Some things that just could help the process of tapping into this, which you've been able to tap into.
Well, for one, you don't have to be in my presence for you to have a hypnosis session. We can do it remotely over Zoom, Teams, what have you. But one of the things is, mindfulness. To be still and, like, no matter what's around you, to just focus on the present. Focus on things like the air that's on your skin, what you're smelling, all the senses, is to plug into that to get that centered space when you need it, especially when you're going through like an anxiety moment. Just be still.
Be still. That seems easier said than done to some people, and still it's one of the most often repeated words of advice. So I'm thinking of one of the Yoruba proverbs that say, if 7 people tell you your face is dirty, wash your face. So there's something to this stillness, right?
Yes.
Even though it may sound, to some people, I guess it may sound abstract or whatever. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Sister Sumara. Is it Sumera or Sumara?
It's Sumara. You said it right the first time. Mars like the planet.
Okay. And you got music out, Samara?
I do not. You hear music. That might be my voice.
That's what I'm saying. No, you already said you've been singing since 2 years old. So I'm just asking. I'm just taking my chance. If you got some music out there, maybe this is just.
Yeah, no, I don't. I haven't. I use my voice for the hypnosis now. I really hadn't. Just for myself. I hear something, I sing,
right.
But nothing professionally.
I feel you. Well, I won't press that issue there. That was just I'm a musician myself, and so I'm just thinking like, hey, Samara on the track, hook up the vibration, because I know you can sing. I don't even have to ask you. One of my brothers, I remember one time with my brother Bilal, big up yourself, Bilal somebody, we were in Guyana having an interview, and his sister was going around, the interviewer was going around, the radio host, and she got to him and he started talking, and she just said, stop. He's like, I can tell by your voice alone that you're a great singer.
Yeah.
So it's one of them things. So, I'm just hearing tracks in the background and all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Family, it's 3:20 in the afternoon. We're tuned in with family members from the Kindred Healing Center, and we'll be forward with more right after this. Do remember, now is the time, and the time is now. We want to give thanks for those of you who've tuned in with us over the years, through the years, from various iterations. Keep on tuning in to yourself.
The crocodile said, It's true that this guy's got a mouth like mine, but I haven't got any brother with fur, let alone with wings. So, next the town crier took the dead bat to the head of the bird's tribe. And who's that? It's Mother Sela, you know, the bird that flies high and shoots herself down like an arrow when she goes to catch her dinner. Mother Sela said, "This animal looks like it's got good wings and reasonable claws, but I never saw anyone in my family with so few feathers." And so, finally, the town crier gave up and threw the bat into a ditch. But when Papa Bat found out about this, he was very angry. He rebelled against God and ordered the whole tribe never to look up to God again. Since then, bats never turn their faces upward. Grandfather, this is too sad. Tell me another one. Grandfather never had to be begged. He would tell you a story, even without your asking. And the times you asked, he would keep on talking until you unasked him. He also knew how to hypnotize you to speak you to sleep when he needed to be left alone to do some important work. He never chased a child away from him. In fact, he always thought children were the most cooperative people on earth. One just needed to know how to use their generous services. A sleeping child is even more obedient than a child awake, and so he would often hypnotize one of us, then awaken us into a state where we would be dispatched to run errands for him. Any child seen silently looking for something who would not respond when you asked, "What are you looking for?" was a sleeping child on an errand for grandfather. He did not like to request the services of grown-ups because they would grumble and swear the whole.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. Or should I say Terima Kasih? So tonight, what you're going to see, what we're about to do tonight, this is called a songversation. Yes? And so we start songversation with a prayer. We came from really far away. Here we go. Y'all with me? Okay. Can I get more vocal, please? This is mic check 1 2 1 2. Such a beautiful night to be here with you. We've come from so far away. Oh, thankful we give praise. Jakarta. Okay. I am light, I am light. I am light, I
the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I'm not the mistakes that I have made or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light.
Yeah. Who feels it knows it. Serenaded by our sister India on a Thursday afternoon. Tapping in with our family at the Kindred Healing Center today, sharing with us some of the tools that are available in our tool basket. You know, and we give thanks for India giving us that beautiful, their beautiful sound, that beautiful reminder. 404-523-8989 is the number. 404-523-8989 is the number. As we go forward to the line, we are really grateful again for the family joining us this afternoon. We're again joined by our sister Oriola Eshuleke, the founder and owner of the Kindred Healing Center. I must tell you that the lineup is very impressive. It's beautiful, and I'm just happy that there's a community that has access to that plethora of light, you know, of
Yes.
healing vibes.
Yes. And, you know, there's more. We have chiropractors. We have a mental health therapist here. We have Reiki energy workers. We have our energy healers. We have sound healers. We have an outstanding herbalist, E.L. Oyanike, and Madame Zenobia's cabinet.
Yes.
We are building out an amazing apothecary and botanical here, and which she heads. And we also have Ifa priestesses here. Mama Toki is here with her dress candles, as well as Ia Oyanike. And we have Ia Ifadero, who is the massage and stretch therapist here. So, and we have room for more. I have actually a suite available, and so if anyone is in the integrative holistic realm and wants to join the family, they can contact me. Not anybody gets in here. Only the ones that's supposed to be here are here. You know, but we are here to do great work. We also provide what's called vibroacoustic therapy. because my ultimate goal, my vision for the center is to move our community from sympathetic, that flight, fright, or freeze, that very tension-oriented space that if you are Black in America, you inherited, into parasympathetic, a place of Zen where we can reach bliss and happiness and beyond. And so we deserve it. The time is now. Our ancestors have worked so hard to get us here. So it just makes sense that we attune so that we can take advantage of it. You know, we can live in our greatness and our light.
I see. It's been mentioned a couple times. I just want to ask you to briefly give a distinction between the two. You said sympathetic and then parasympathetic. What is that referring to for those who are not aware?
So it's the nervous system. And what happens with a lot of African Americans in particular, that's who I've been working with for the last 20 years, so I can speak mostly to that. We have so much tension in our bodies and our minds that our organs and our cells and everything else that we're built of have to kind of fight through all of that. And that's the sympathetic space. That's the, worry, thinking about tomorrow, still living in yesterday kind of-ness. Whereas parasympathetic is the opposite of that. Parasympathetic is present in the present moment. Parasympathetic is relaxed, is calm, is jubilant, is zen. And a lot can be accomplished. There's no fight there. There's just flow.
True.
And
it's intriguing about the word sympathetic and the connotations of those words. Parasympathetic.
Yeah, right. The space where we need sympathy and the space where we don't need sympathy.
You need some get up and go. Get up, stand up on your feet. Self-reliance.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so happy that you joined us this afternoon, you and the crew. I want to ask you to give us some general information about the Kindred Healing Center, any phone number, email, website, or whatever that people can get in touch.
Thank you. You can find us on the internet at our website at www.kindredhealingcenter.com. On IG, we are Kindred Healing Center. On TikTok, we are Kindred Healing Kindred Healing CEN. And you can reach us on those places. Email us at kindredhealingcenter@gmail.com as well. We host every Wednesday a Wellness Wednesday. It's free. It's open to the public. You get complimentary cup of herbal tea blend from Ia Oyanike and Madame Zenobia's cabinet. And you could, I encourage people to go to the website. There's a calendar there that hosts all of our events where you can find us, find out what's happening in the center.
Good thing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, beloved. And more success in the journey, the clear mission of helping to heal the community that has been through so much. So we're grateful for what
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And we hope to see you again soon. And we hope to see many of your listeners and viewers as well.
Absolutely. Much love to you.
Peace and love to you as well. Take care.
The number is 404-523-8989. We've been speaking with Oriola Eshuleke of Kindred Healing Center. Family, stay tuned to yourself. We're going to keep on that journey of water and spirit. We're here until the 4 o'clock hour. We're here till the 4 o'clock hour.
alone. You don't talk to them because he or she may be discussing an important issue with a spirit or an ancestor. This rule applies more to holy elders than to adults in general. When I was with grandfather, I felt as if there were more people around than could be accounted for. When he knew I was not following his stories, he used to redirect his speech to these invisible beings. He never seemed bothered by my not listening. Grandfather's respect and love for children were universal in the tribe. To the Dagara, children are the most important members of society, the community's most precious treasures. We have a saying that it takes the whole tribe to raise a child. Homes have doorless entrances to allow children to go in and out wherever they want, and it is common for a mother to not see her child for days and nights because he or she is enjoying the care and love of other people. When the mother really needs to be with her child, she will go from home to home searching for it. When a child grows into an adolescent, he or she must be initiated into adulthood. A person who doesn't get initiated will remain an adolescent for the rest of their life, and this is a frightening, dangerous, and unnatural situation. After initiation, the elders will pick a partner for the young person, someone who is selected for their ability to team up with you in the fulfillment of your life purpose. If one obediently walks their life path, they will become an elder somewhere in their late 40s or early 50s. Graduating to this new status, however, depends on one's good track record. A male elder is the head of his family. He has the power to bless and the power to withhold blessing. This ability comes to him from his ancestors, to whom he is very close, and he follows their wisdom in counseling his large family. Wealth among the Dagara is determined not by how many things you have, but by how many people you have around you. A person's happiness is directly linked to the amount of attention and love coming to him or her from other people. In this, the elder is the most blessed because he is in the most visible position to receive a lot of attention. The child is too because it belongs to the whole community. Some elders are chosen to sit on the village council. There, they participate in decision-making that affects the entire village. Women have their council separate from men because of their unique roles and responsibilities. Dagger culture is matrilineal. Everybody in the village carries the name of their mother. The family is feminine. The house where the family lives is kept by a male. The male is in charge of the family's security. The female is in charge of the continuity of life. She rules the kitchen, the granaries where food is stored, and the space where meals are taken. The male is in charge of the medicine shrine and of the family's connection with the ancestors. He brings the things that nourish the family, like food. For a full 50 years, my grandfather had been the priest, the leader, and the counselor of a family of over 50 souls. Faced with domestic problems of all kinds, he had had to be tough. Judging from his physical appearance, muscles still protruding from tired biceps, square shoulders that looked as if they could still carry weight, and a big chest that seemed to hide massive lungs, one could see that he had been a robust young man capable of sustaining long hours of demanding physical labor. Grandfather's greatest fame, however, came from his spiritual accomplishments. In the village, everyone knew him as the upside-down arrow shooter. He was one of the people in the tribe whose name made people shudder, for if he wished to destroy an enemy, he would retire to the quiet of his chambers, place an arrow upside down on his bow, and magically hit his target. The arrow would kill whomever or whatever he named, then rematerialize in his chamber ready for more. The slightest scratch from such a weapon is mortal. Other tribes did not dare go into conflict with ours because they did not possess the secret of such deadly magic. Consequently, grandfather rarely had a chance to demonstrate his power in battle. The arrow did have peacetime uses, however. Grandfather used it to protect our family farm from the nocturnal raids of wild beasts. Although he could no longer work the fields, grandfather could still contribute to our food supply in this manner. He also displayed the upside-down arrow as a persuasive weapon to warn evildoers away from our family, the Birifer. Grandfather was no longer strong enough to walk the 6 miles between the house and the farm every day, and as far as I can recall, I never saw him go there. Because the people of my tribe practice and burn agriculture, their fields are often very far away, as people keep moving them around year after year to avoid exhausting the soil. I was born too late to know Grandfather as a more vigorous man. When I was a child, he spent his days sitting in the same place in the central yard of the labyrinthine compound that housed our family group. Sometimes he was pensive, calmly and wisely dispatching legal matters without so much as raising his head or the tone of his voice. He had great knowledge of healing matters as well, without so much as glancing up from the pots that held the food and medicinal items he dispensed. He could tell young people who had physical problems which roots they should dig up and bring back to him in the evening for their cures. At night, when everyone else was asleep, Grandfather would watch over the farm and the compound from his room. Through the use of complex and magical security devices, his thoughts were constantly tuned into the vibration of the farm, and he could always determine whether the fields were being raided by wild animals. The device he used to keep vigil consisted of a clay pot filled with virgin water, rainfall that had never touched the earth in its fall from the sky. He saw everything that happened throughout the farm by looking into this water. The precision of vision it afforded superseded the simplicity of this device. Grandfather's magical guardianship had enabled our family to always have enough food to eat. 2/3 of the tribe did not share our surplus and could never put aside enough extra food to avoid the hardship of the hunger season, which ran every year from July to September when stored food ran out. During this time, a mild famine visited many compounds. Children would stop singing, and laughter would vanish from the houses at night. Every morning during that time, a long line of people stood at the door of the Beerfer house, waiting for a calabash of grain. Distributing food to all these needy people was another of Grandfather's tasks. So, every morning of those misty days of July and August, after he had given orders to the men and women of the family regarding their daily assignments, Grandfather would drag himself to the door of his room. There, he would take all the time he needed to be seated comfortably. I would wait calmly until he was settled. Then I would sit on his bony lap, aided by a woman whose charge it was to measure the proper amount of millet to be distributed to each of the needy. Grandfather would dispatch his task until shortly after noontime when the heat became unbearable. Usually, at that particular time of the day, I would fall asleep on his lap. He would wake me up later with a song that rang more like a cry. Grandfather's voice was terrible. Then he would say, "Brother Malidoma, my legs can't hold you any longer. Please allow them to breathe too." And still half asleep, I would stand up and wait, wondering what had happened. After the rite of charity, one of the women brought food to Grandfather and me, and we ate together. Grandfather was very frugal. I remember him once explaining to my father that the weight of undigested food closed the body and the mind off from the ability to perceive the surrounding good and bad vibrations. He who ate too much increased his vulnerability. The good taste of food hid the danger it put the body into. Grandfather's philosophy was that food is a necessary evil. For this reason, the attitude toward food in our family was strange. One ate only when absolutely necessary. Grandfather could tell who was eating too much. For children under 6, he encouraged food. For adults, he encouraged frugality. He used to rage at certain adolescents who, in his eyes, had no control of their appetite, saying, "Initiation will be a bitter experience when you come of age. Now is the time you must learn to control the drives of your body. Be alert and firm. Do not let the desire for physical satisfactions temper your warriorship. Remember, our ancestors are spirits. They feed only their minds, and that is why they can do things beyond our comprehension." When Grandfather started speaking, he did not particularly care whether someone was listening or not. Speaking was a liberating exercise for him, an act of mental juggling. He would sometimes speak for hours, as if he had a big spirit audience around him. He would laugh, get angry, and storm at invisible opponents, and then become quiet once more. When he had a real audience, as he did every evening at storytelling time, he would teach us all through his tales. He would speak until everyone fell asleep, then would rail at us, saying that sleep was a dangerous practice, no different from that of eating too much food. For grandfather, sleep was a tribute we paid to the body far too often. He would often say that the body is merely the clothing of the soul, and that it is not good to pay too much attention to it, as if it were really us. Leave your body alone, and it will align itself to the needs of the spirit you are. I loved grandfather's company, and he loved having me next to him. He used to call me brother when he had something serious to tell me. Otherwise, he would call me by my tribal name.
Black Art in America presents its third annual Fine Art Print Fair, August 1st, August 3rd, Black Art in America Gallery,
the elder son of my parents,
Conley Drive,
someone I used to love very much.
celebrating 100 years
Birifer's
of
name is
African
now
American printmaking. The weekend kicks off Friday, August 1st, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And on Saturday, August 2nd, the fair hours are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Fairgoers will experience works by emerging, mid-career, and legacy artists. Featured programs include Inked Resistance, Power and Protest in African American Printmaking, that explores how printmaking has fueled social change and cultural identity across the past century, and a conversation with internationally acclaimed sculptor Melvin Edwards.
The bottomless pit is open. Yeah. The smoke arose.
Role of printmaking and Edwards' celebrated career. The Black Art in America Fine Art Print Fair also features live artist demonstrations and artist spotlight sessions on Saturday, August 2nd, and Sunday, August 3rd. For full list of programming and times, the website is blackartinamerica.com. This has been another public service announcement brought to you by your listener-sponsored and supported community radio station, WRFG 89.3 FM and WRFG.org.
The bottomless pit is open. Yeah. The smoke arose. The sun turned to blood. The moon turned to blood. Blood, blood, blood. Jah open the bottomless pit. Ooh, so. And a great smoke arose out of it. The smoke of the furnace turned a cloud into darkness. Yes, 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 yes. The fire will be burning, and all the wicked will be running. There'll be no time to repent. You got to face judgment. Yeah, 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 yeah. Go, go, go down, wicked. Go, 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 go down. Yeah, yeah. Go, go, go down. Go down. The fire will be burning, and all the wicked will be running. There'll be no time to repent. You got to face judgment. Yeah, 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 yeah. To open the bottomless pit, and a great smoke arose out of it. The smoke of the furnace turned a cloud into darkness. Yes, 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 yes. Jah Rastafari, King Emmanuel and Marcus, their love is for real. Yeah.
Jah Rastafari, ever living, ever loving. Jah is ever faithful. Yes, Jah is ever sure. Jah Rastafari. Lord, we get a telegram, no one from the motherland.
This a telegram, it say fi leave a Babylon. Say fi leave Babylon and come. Black man, you fi leave Babylon and come. Say we a go chant Hosanna to the highest. Yes. Say we a go chant Hosanna, sing it in the highest. That's that man you feel leave Babylon and come. Say when you feel leave Babylon and come. Cause a judge is a lion, as far as the conquering lion, as we have to leave Babylon and come. Now tell this to me, mama, not to me, son. Get to me, daughter, and every me come. Gonna leave Babylon and come. Say falling down, I say falling down. Babylon whole downtown is a falling down, and the whole downtown is a falling down. We are gonna leave Babylon and come. Cause in the salon, them call Babylon. Babylon is a system, not a man. So no feeling Babylon and come. Said if you have not daughter, go tell it to your son. Leave Babylon and come. Holy Mount Zion, a city on the side of the north. Them say the sun rising in the east and it's setting on the west. Tell me about the sun in the north and south. Get you judge a sun, me say shine all about. Leave Babylon and come. Tell them if you leave Babylon and come. Long time ago there was a great explorer called Marco Polo. Raping and robbing everything in their past. Getting on them teach we and them take we at the last. Who do leave Babylon and come. Cause Babylon have a net, yes the wicked have a trap. You know that the trap say don't get in or that. Who do leave Babylon and come.
Man. Yeah, from the day with righteousness rising on my son. Yeah, man, I just. Well, I select your rise and all his enemies be scattered and let them that also fight him for you for me. Them want destroy, I be joy, all of the joy. I the joy, them can't destroy, I we joy. The ghetto used to pull them up a joy, I we joy. Them want destroy, I we joy. Can't touch me joy, well then I the joy. Them, well I the joy. Well, the ghetto used to mix up in the wrong dealing. And in the midst of them keeping good herbs and bun. Herbs with the smoke in your come and bust your gun. And your button beating. When I trouble you with your pretty girl sleeping. When I trouble you when you got your food eating. So loud the ghetto you to sign them striving. Because he said you defile and you sin. Well then I destroy them war destroy. Yeah the joy. Can't touch me joy. Oh yeah the joy. Them want destroy, yeah the joy. Can't touch me joy. Well, me no business about the big guns what you keeping. I mean no business if you carry a bad feeling. Me no matter if you drink no tea this morning. You're free when these people you greet him. We no business about your politics meeting. We no business the religion what you seeking. In a the ghetto your business you the peeping. Yeah this the ghetto girl well and a lightning. How we joy them. How we joy, can't touch me joy. Yo, how we joy them. How we joy, can't touch me joy. Well, youth burn and they get a youth looting. Table turn and they get a youth shooting. Get a youth say them tired of the suffering. And them no want no leader where that they control him. Them use the money and build up them big building. And what the people them from morning till evening. Pastor Allah cause him collect all of the offering. And the church sister catch them grinning. Well, they not the joy them. Are the joy, can't touch with joy. Yo, how we joy them. How we joy, can't touch me joy. When the Gideon bus, then what a thing. When Stony Hill people, them start to fling from PJ Siaga and Bruce Golding. The madman said this year he wants some up full living. Him tell PJ say no one, I'm out of rubbish bin. Him born Mr. Low, Mr. Wanga, Mr. Thing. You put the youth pants on client, put them in a ring. Yo, them done your mouth, Chacha duck wing. So me hide the cow, them and me hide the pigeon. Yo, what the joy, them. Well, them not the joy. All of them. I the joy, them war destroy. I the joy. I the joy, well them not the joy, them war destroy. I the joy, can't touch with joy, well them now we joy, them war destroy. I we joy, can't touch me joy, well the use no in and no wrong dealing. Good herbs are bomb, chalice with the smoking. You bring your gun and your button beating. Togetherness vibes we keeping. Yeah, I'm gonna trouble you with your girl sleeping. When I'm honest you, when you got your food eating. So now they get to you to see them all prospering. Me go see say you defile and you sin. Well, I be joy, Babylon, what is right? I be joy.
See it? You ready? Good.
And degenerates. It tends to poverty, the Bible says. And you got to watch stinginess in every form. Some people seem to think that, well, maybe you can be generous with other people, but stingy with yourself. And I'm going to read you right now, because there's some of you right here, you are stingy with yourself.
So, do you have a
under the guise of being thrifty. Under the guise of being economical. Say out loud, but do not answer out loudly. Am I stingy with myself? And write that on your lesson sheet. I'm going to get at you from another angle. Do I have anything that I think is too good for me? Some of you, you've got some things that you think are too good for you to use. Some of you have some things that you think are too nice for you to use. If you are stingy with yourself, you set up something in your consciousness that will cause life to be stingy with you. That's why it'll be so hard to get a raise and to increase your income. As long as there's any kind of stinginess in your consciousness, you are withholding good from yourself. You've got to learn how to be generous with yourself. I didn't say wasteful. There's a thin line, and it's a very thin line. Because you see, the infinite economy does not economize. I'm jumping around a bit here, but let me talk about the infinite economy for a moment. The infinite economy does not economize, and from a purely intellectual point of view, the infinite economy is wasteful. Do you realize that the infinite economy produces more fruit on trees than gets used up? It drops on the ground and rots.
So I got to find a clean version.
But you see, in the infinite economy, it isn't even wasted because it circulates in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment. The fruit drops on the ground and rots, but the seed somehow or the other gets scattered, to use the Bible word again, are circulated. The birds of the air, the animals, pick up the seed and circulate
And you're
the
gonna
seed.
say all the
God, the infinite economy, is lavish. I want you to get a sense of what you're dealing with. I've told you time and time again that we're always dealing with the infinite. So say with me, I'm always dealing with the infinite.
and yours.
And I've got some good news for you. It's the gospel. You are not dealing with a little bit of nothing. Say with me, I'm not dealing with a little bit of anything.